It's 5:30. This is WKYT This Morning. His son says he was helping out, giving another man directions. We're learning more this morning about the second man who died after getting hit by a car in Lexington. Those details are just ahead.
Also on WKYT this morning, we are 8 days away from the election, and a new FBI investigation is shaking things up on the campaign trail in these last days.
And it's Halloween. We'll take a look at one of the houses that's hunting for a good cause, and we'll take a look at your Kentucky forecast, all coming up on WKYT This Morning.
This is WKYT This Morning.
Good morning. Kentucky Morning Start right here on WKYT, including on the very last day of October. I'm Bill Bryant.
And I'm Andrea Walker. It is Halloween, everybody. You knew that already. And guess what? We're in for a real treat today.
Hope it's really enjoyable and safe for everybody out there. So, you know, keep all those things in mind that you know to be safe for the kids this evening. Drivers, be cautious out there. And let's check in with meteorologist Micah and see how the weather will be.
Yeah, and the weather looks pretty good. I mean, once we get off to trick-or-treating time, we're going to be in the mid to upper 60s. Really nice feeling weather. We're at 55 now in Lexington, Mount Sterling, Moorhead, down toward Jackson. We're doing well anywhere you look, sitting there in the mid to upper 50s. And by the afternoon, we're at 71 degrees. Very pleasant day in store. It's going to be a little bit cooler because we actually have a front rolling on through. So a bit cooler than the past couple of days. You got to remember, this weekend we actually broke a record on Saturday at 82 degrees. We were right there in the lower 80s yesterday. Won't be there today, but we jump back up toward tomorrow, maybe even with some possible record-breaking warmth. We'll go over that, and I'll show you when some rain moves on into your forecast. We'll talk about all that in just a few minutes.
And we'll see you then. Let's get to the news.
We're learning more this morning about the second man killed in a crash over the weekend.
Police say Jason Schweitzer and Timothy Moore were on South Upper when a drunk driver lost control of her car and ran into them. WKYT's Lauren Miner is live in Lexington now with some new details on Moore. Good morning, Lauren.
Good morning, Bill. Well, Timothy Moore was an employee here at UK for 14 years. Employees at UK tell us he was a hard worker, and people that he could count on others. WDRB in Louisville spoke with Moore's son Michael yesterday afternoon, who said his father was a family man. He went on to say that his father was a kind and generous person, always willing to help people. Saturday morning, an accused drunk driver hit Moore along with Louisville detective Jason Schweitzer while the two were standing on UK's campus. We're told Moore was giving directions to Detective Schweitzer before they were both hit and killed.
There's consequences to every decision that you make, and she made a choice, and that choice comes with consequences. You have choices, and you should choose not to drink and drive.
Driver of the car, she is charged with manslaughter and DUI. Whitlow has not been booked yet in the Fayette County Detention Center. UK is providing grief counselors here on campus for the people who worked with Moore. Reporting live in Lexington, Lauren Miner, WKYT.
Lauren, thank you very much. EKU police have arrested 4 people in connection to a burglary on campus over the weekend. Police say early yesterday morning someone tried to break into the Grand Campus apartments on Barnes Mill Road with a gun. They say several people ran off and were later caught for questioning, and now 4 people are facing charges. Zachary Beaton and Darius Bryant are both charged with burglary. Shaheem Lee is charged with burglary and criminal mischief, and Deshaun Moncrief is charged with wanton endangerment, as well as burglary, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, and receiving stolen property. Police say none of the 4 suspects are students at EKU. Lexington police are investigating an armed robbery at a store on North Limestone. Police tell us a man dressed in all black walked into Jackson Wine and Spirits with a handgun and demanded money. They say he then got away in a dark car. Police say a customer tried to follow the man in their car down North Limestone toward New Circle. Police say when they crossed New Circle, the man fired a shot at the customer. The customer stopped following the man. Police say that customer was not hurt.
A Russell County man is in jail this morning on murder charges. Rick McWhorter is charged with murder. State police say 70-year-old Douglas Carnes was found dead in his home along South Main Street in Jamestown Saturday morning. They say Carnes was involved in a fight. Troopers think he was beaten and cut to death. Also in Russell County, the coroner's office is investigating what they think is an accidental drowning at Lake Cumberland. The coroner says 67-year-old James Stone Cipher of Indiana was pronounced dead at the launching ramp in Kendall Park yesterday. Toxicology reports are not back yet. The coroner and the Kentucky Department of Fish and Wildlife are investigating.
New on WKYT this morning, Hazard police officers are looking for 2 suspects involved in an armed robbery. Police say it happened last night at a Dollar General store. Police have released this surveillance picture of the 2 men. We're told that both of the suspects had handguns and demanded money from the cashier inside the store. Police say the 2 men were driving a white truck or SUV. And new this morning, we've learned the name of a woman who police say was involved in a standoff with Richmond police.
A scary situation there. Jail officials say Sherry Rogers was arrested last night after the 8-hour-long standoff. WKYT's Mike Meyer is live in Richmond this morning with the details. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Andrea. Rogers is behind bars after a long standoff with Richmond police that happened yesterday afternoon. She's charged with wanton endangerment, terroristic threatening, criminal mischief, and disorderly conduct. It all began yesterday afternoon when Richmond police were called out to a home on Valley Street for a report of shots fired. Police say Rogers and her boyfriend were yelling inside the house. At one point, officers heard Rogers say he was going to die. Police say Rogers was going to kill them if they didn't leave. This is when the standoff began. Because of the dangerous situation, Kentucky State Police sent in a $30,000 robot. Police say Rogers shot the robot, disabling it. Officers say one of the rounds grazed the door and ended up going in their direction. As a result of the shots fired, Rogers' boyfriend actually ran from the home, escaping to safety. Tear gas was eventually used, causing Rogers herself to run out of the home and surrendering. Now, all in all, the standoff lasted around 8 hours, fortunately ending without anyone being hurt. Live in Richmond, Mike Meyer, WKYT.
All right, Mike, thank you very much. The FBI has obtained a warrant to begin looking through thousands of newly discovered emails, some of which could be related to the investigation into Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server.
The late October surprise is shaking up the tight presidential race between Clinton and Donald Trump just 8 days before the election. Hannah Daniels has the latest on campaign 2016.
As Hillary Clinton tried to move past the latest chapter into her email scandal.
I'm not stopping now. We're just getting warmed up, right?
Donald Trump thanked the disgraced former New York congressman at the center of the investigation.
We never thought we were going to say thank you to Anthony Weiner.
Running mate Mike Pence praised FBI Director James Comey for alerting Congress about the newly discovered emails last week, against the wishes of Attorney General Loretta Lynch.
The FBI stepping forward at this moment has demonstrated real integrity.
On Sunday, Democrats, including Clinton's running mate Tim Kaine, blasted Comey for penning the letter.
Donald Trump says, oh, they're reopening the investigation. That's not what the letter said. The letter was so confusing that it was hard to know exactly what it said.
Senate Minority Leader Harry Reid went a step further, accusing Comey of breaking the law. In a letter to the FBI director, Reid wrote, "I am writing to inform you that my office has determined that these actions may violate the Hatch Act, which bars FBI officials from using their official authority to influence an election." Despite the FBI announcement, many Democratic voters say their minds are already made up.
We just love that she fights for women.
The level of that email is nothing to the craziness level of a guy like Trump.
In the latest CBS News poll, just 5% of Democrats say they're less likely to support Clinton now. Hannah Daniels, CBS News.
Over the summer, Comey announced the FBI would not seek criminal charges against Clinton over her use of a private server while Secretary of State. Officials on both sides of the aisle are calling on him to release more information about the emails found on Weiner's laptop as soon as possible.
This time of year, of course, and today it's Halloween, and it is all about the scares.
And a Lexington family is terrifying people for a good reason. Nightmare on Greenway is open tonight for anyone up for a scare. Stephen Kober says it's taken months of preparation to get his house ready for Halloween, but Kober didn't just turn his house into a haunted house for anything. He created the house to help raise money for those struggling with PTSD.
To me, it hits home every single time. As a veteran myself, I understand those struggles, and it's very important that people, especially in Lexington, understand that this is an issue here, and it's something that we can tackle.
The haunted house is free, but donations are welcome. All donations will go towards the Warrior Life Center. The family also has set up an online fundraising page. We have a link to that page and the haunted house's hours on our website right now for you on WKYT.com.
Well, they went all out, didn't they?
They did.
So it's something to see. And our time this morning is 5:40, and that means it's time to check on live drive traffic for you this morning, see what is going on as we're 20 minutes away from the 6 o'clock hour. And to look at the region right now, it looks good. I-75, I-64 running just fine. No problems along the Bluegrass Parkway at the moment either.
And we're looking outside now, courtesy of the Lexington Fayette Urban County Government live drive cam at the I-64, I-75 southern split. Things moving very smoothly this morning, so a good way to start your Halloween.
That it is. And everybody just keep in mind all the little trick-or-treaters who will be out this evening,
Yes.
certainly, and just be cautious, slow down, be observant. We have a lot more news coming up on WKYT here on your Monday morning.
Still ahead on WKYT, some people in California had a smashing good time this weekend, sending pumpkins flying through the air. We'll take a closer look at that story right after Micah's forecast.
You look around and you see absolutely nothing going on across our region, but look toward late week. That's when we start to see this cold front back toward the upper northwest. It'll head toward our region. I'll show you what that entails coming up next.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Micah Harris.
It's a pretty nice start to the day when typically we're in the 40s. We're actually in the 50s and even some 60s mixed in here and there, especially down towards southern Kentucky. It's a nice feel as you walk out the door early this morning. Let's go over the breakdown. Here's some Halloween treats for you, just some little things to know as you walk out the door. Highest Halloween temperature of the past 5 years is 70 degrees. Now, I believe we'll actually top that out later on this afternoon as we're expecting the low 70s, maybe even some mid 70s here and there. So it's a really nice feel. This is going to be the warmest temperature we have felt in the past 5 Halloweens. Low 70s and dry today. Trick-or-treating temperatures anywhere from 65 to about 71 degrees. So that's anywhere from, say, 6 p.m. to about 8 p.m. And so that is perfect feeling weather for those kiddos walking out the door. If you're looking for those trick-or-treating times, remember, some are at 5 o'clock, some start at 5:30, some start at 6. So it's just kind of all over the board. Don't forget, visit WKYT.com. You can see a link right there for all the trick-or-treating times to get out there and knock that out later on this evening. Let's go over the breakdown, the forecast of it for Halloween. We're at 71 degrees for today, okay? Then we go off toward trick-or-treating time, roughly 5:30, 6 o'clock. You're talking 68. Then once the sun sets, remember, sun sets at 6:40, so a lot of the time we'll actually be in some sunlight. By 8 p.m. we're at 65 degrees. That is nothing to be worried about. So the kids going out in their Halloween costume, they'll be just fine. And we're not looking at any chance of seeing any rain. Tiffany Moore sent this one in. Here's your Facebook pics of the day. Amelia Rose as the little princess heading out to trick-or-treat later on this evening. Will work for candy. That is Nova right there. I love that shot. Really appreciate these shots. And also, you got Tinkerbell. Carolyn Ray sent this one in out of Powell County. Really, really cute pictures of all your kiddos. And every time I show these pictures, Andrea's just over there going, oh my gosh, these kids are so cute. 7-day forecast, 71 today. We got 80 degrees for tomorrow. Now, I will tell you this, record warmth is possible tomorrow. We're actually looking at the record at 83 degrees. And there is a possibility of reaching that. With those gusty winds that pumps in the warm air, some of these weather models have a hard time holding on to temperatures that are really, really warm when you have those gusty winds. So a lot of times they go on the low end of things. And if that's the case, I do believe we'll actually tie or break a record tomorrow. We'll see, but either way, it's going to be warm.
That's just crazy. Yeah. I'm really enjoying those Facebook pictures.
I know, they're so cute. We do them every year, so we appreciate you guys sending them in.
Yeah, keep them coming, people.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, there you go. Our time this morning, 5:47 right now.
And when it comes time to toss your jack-o'-lanterns, we don't recommend getting rid of them like this.
But to be fair, this next story does look like a smashing good time.
Doesn't
Let's take
it,
a look. Sportsplex USA held its 3rd annual Jacko Smash race, and it was a family fun festival as well over the weekend. This out near San Diego. A couple of catapults send those pumpkins flying through the air. The festival also had a giant pumpkin Plinko board. What about that? All of the money that was raised from the festival goes to local organizations, by the way, so they have a great time with it and then donate the money. But yeah, it looks like fun.
It does does look like fun. I was a little skeptical at first. I didn't know what was coming, but this is cute. I like that.
Hope a lot of folks had some enjoyable times with all the events over the weekend. Here locally, there were those trunk or treat events, and some folks had little Halloween gatherings.
That's
and so,
right.
It is the season, and we're glad you're with us on WKYT this morning.
Coming up, you'll get a look at the stories making news at this hour.
We'll be checking traffic again. We'll see how things are moving along. We have some health news and a lot more, and it sure is good to have you right here, waking up with us on WKYT. Good morning and welcome back into WKYT this morning on your Monday, October 31st, Halloween. A lot going on today.
Yes, it's great to have you guys with us. Let's take a look at some of the stories we're working on for you this morning.
Our news team is busy. We're learning more this morning about the second man killed in a crash over the weekend. For 14 years, Timothy, the gentleman who was killed in this accident, worked on UK's campus in utility management. Police say Louisville detective Jason Schweitzer also died in the crash. Suzanne Whitlow was the driver of the car, and she is charged with manslaughter and DUI. Whitlow has not been booked into the Fayette County Detention Center.
A woman is in jail this morning after Richmond police say she was involved in a standoff with officers for hours. Jail officials say Sherry Rogers was arrested last night after the standoff. Police say they went to a house on Valley Street for a shots fired call. That standoff lasted for 8 hours yesterday afternoon. Officers evacuated some nearby homes, but thankfully no one was hurt.
Timothy Moore is the second pedestrian killed in that accident. All right.
Topping your international headlines this morning, people in central Italy are waking up again to more devastation following yet another earthquake.
The powerful 6.6 magnitude quake rocked the country yesterday morning. More than a dozen people were injured. It follows tremors last week and a massive quake that killed nearly 300 people in August.
There are just 8 days left until Election Day, and the FBI has obtained a warrant to start looking through newly discovered emails that could be related to the now closed investigation into Hillary Clinton's use of a private email server. The emails were found on the laptop Clinton aide Uma Abedin allegedly shared with her estranged husband, former New York Congressman Anthony Weiner. Weiner is under investigation for allegedly sending illicit text messages to a minor.
Cubs fans are flying the W this morning. The World Series heads back to Cleveland for a critical Game 6 tomorrow. The Chicago Cubs beat the Cleveland Indians 3-2 in Game 5 last night at Wrigley Field. The Indians lead the series, though, 3-2, so it goes back to Cleveland and their home with them having an advantage.
Well, there is new data out on one of the most common chronic childhood diseases. That tops your morning's health headlines. The
American Academy of Pediatrics advises the best way to manage asthma in children is to estimate household triggers. Doctors say reducing exposure to dust mites, mold, and secondhand smoke can be as effective as medications in controlling the disease.
Nicolas Cage is on a mission, plus the possible return of Downton Abbey.
And an important court date for Bill Cosby. Suzanne Marquez has your eye on entertainment.
Bill Cosby heads back to court this week for a pretrial hearing in his sexual assault case. On Tuesday, prosecutors will ask the judge to allow 13 other women to testify about their encounters with Cosby. The defense is arguing against it, saying the comedian is blind and cannot recognize his accusers. Stars of the Downton Abbey TV series are hoping for a green light on the movie version. Laura Carmichael played Lady Edith. She says the script is ready, but the cast is still waiting.
They haven't asked us yet, so we'll see. But we'd all love to do it. We're again a big family.
For now, Carmichael is promoting her newest project, the dark comedy Burn, Burn, Burn.
God? Well, Gary, I have many names.
Nicolas Cage is a man on a holy mission in the new movie Army of One. The story is loosely based on a real-life handyman with a religious calling to capture Osama bin Laden.
He tried to do it 11 times. There is something a little bit disturbing about that, as well as misguided about that. So I knew I was playing somebody who was an extreme personality.
Russell Brand plays the role of God, and the film opens in limited release on Friday. And that's your Eye on Entertainment. Suzanne Marquez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
Looks interesting.
It
All right,
does.
let's get a check this hour on today's traffic trouble spots with live drive traffic.
If there are any, and so far,
Hopefully not.
so good. I mean, things are moving along fine. If you're heading into Lexington this morning in the Bluegrass from some of the surrounding cities, it is a good ride in. We have no reports of any delays along any of our interstates or the Martha Lane College Islands Bluegrass Parkway also moving well, and no reports of any troubles out there. So if you're on those major roadways, you're good.
All good to go. And here's a look at Newtown and Citation Boulevard this morning, courtesy of the Lexington Fayette Urban County Government Live Drive Cam. As you can see, things moving very smoothly on your Monday.
So everybody be careful, and of course be mindful this evening of all the kids out there trick-or-treating, you know, as you drive. All right, let's check in with meteorologist Micah Harris.
Yeah, because they'll be out and about, I mean, in full swing later on this evening and off into the night. 54 degrees there and Moorhead. It's a good start this morning. London, Corbin coming in down toward Whitley, Knox, and Laurel counties are looking good. So it's a pretty pleasant start. By the afternoon at 71 degrees, a great Halloween in store. And then, like I said, evening hours look just as nice. We're going to go over that. If you're about to take off, have a great Monday. Don't forget, watch out for those kids later on this evening.